Good morning, Rotarians and guests.
Morning, Ron.
Good morning, Sergeant of Arms.
Yes, I'm Ron Strobel, the Sergeant at Arms. Glad somebody out there knew that. The invocation this morning is by Bill Woldridge.
Go get him.
Oh my God, look at the shorts.
Look at those legs.
What can I say?
Keith,
Here,
the camera.
I'm getting the
camera.
I got it. I got it. Whoa! Whoa!
He's milking it.
We got the whole thing, man.
Where's Max Wendell? He always wears shorts.
He's here.
Max, you got shorts on?
No.
Oh, come on. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask you for your love, your mercy, and your understanding. Forgive us for anything we have done wrong today. Put into our hearts the ideal of service. Keep us alert to the needs of others. Bless the work of Rotarians everywhere. And let us remember that when we serve others, we serve you. We thank you for all our blessings, and we thank you for the food you have given us today. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I have some extra shorts if anybody wants.
And please forgive Bill for the way he dressed.
That was the first part of his prayer.
And now to raise the level significantly to lead us in the pledge and the four-way test, Joe Zapatowski.
All right, Joe.
Wow. Ridiculous to sublime.
There's a Florida coat.
Yeah, you.
Rotarians, join me in the pledge to our country.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now our four-way test. First.
Is it the truth?
Second.
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third.
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
And fourth.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. And now to lead us in song, Dick Pearsall.
I was thinking about a Cavs song, but there isn't a Cavs song.
Let's go, Cavs.
How did I know? Anyway, I thought we should dedicate the number to the Cuyahoga Valley Scenic Railroad, and we could have a little fun and sing "I've been working on the Scenic Railroad." I thought we've been working on the Cavs game, but I can't get the rest of the words. Anyway, we're going to sing "I've been working on the railroad." We don't have the words. I think you'll all have. Do we have the words?
No,
We don't?
no.
Well, you can mouth them a little bit.
I've been working on the railroad all the live long days. I've been working on the railroad just to pass the time away. Can't you hear the rush of blowing? Rise up early in the morn. Can't you hear the rush of shouting? Dinah, blow your horn.
Now you know the words.
Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow your horn? Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow your horn?
Now there's
Something in the kitchen with Dinah. Someone in the kitchen I know. Someone in the kitchen with Dinah. Strumming on the old banjo.
well word. That's good.
Way to go, Dick.
Thank you, Dick. And now our president, Allison Feaster.
Great job, Dick. Good morning, Rotarians.
Good morning,
Who's
Allison.
making a difference?
We are.
Chris, right on the ball to introduce our guest.
Good morning, Rotarians and guests.
Morning, Chris.
If you'll please join me in welcoming our guests today, and if they would please stand up. First, we have today's speakers, the Citizens Committee for Hudson, and they're 6th grade students from the Hudson City Schools and their families. Thank you for joining us today. And from the Hudson School Board, we have Patty Engelman.
Morning, Patty.
Patty.
And then returning, I believe, for their 4th visit, and hopefully they'll be future members.
There you go.
We have George Schmutz, owner of Printing Concepts in Stowe and guest of Rich Forfield.
Morning, Joe.
And we have Lynn Zupp, guest of Liz Ramsey, and she works for Hudson Physical Therapy. Thank you for joining
Hey,
us
Lynn.
today.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you, Chris. Welcome guests. Next, Ed Sogan is ready to talk to you about the House and Garden Tour. We're going to be hearing from Dexter James and Gail Royster and Dan Williams, so make sure you're ready to head on up here.
I'd like to thank George Snyder for stepping up and helping out with the Home and Garden Tour. We do still have an opening or two for tomorrow evening at the 5 to 8 o'clock shift. So if anybody does have the time, there are a couple of slots open. Wanted to mention that in the front page of the Hub today, we have pictures of 2 state champions from Hudson High School, the 1600. 3200, Kalma.
Oh, yeah, right.
Gavin Gator was in the 1600. We had 2 entrants in the state meet, and we came away with 20 points with those 2 first place finishes, and ended up in 5th place for Division 1. We also had a CCA athlete from Hudson that won the Division 2 1600 meter run, so that's there on the front page. Also on the front page is featured an article about the committee that's here that represented Hudson and the battle for state funding. So please take the time to read those 2 things. The last thing was I thought those were strings hanging out. Those were Bill's legs.
He'll never live it down.
You can't sit here.
Dexter, would you like to come up and talk to us about our next big social
Hey, Dexter.
event?
Oh. Is it fair to all concerned?
So we have our golf outing here, and I got the sign-up sheet for it. It's the Micah 6-8 golf outing, which will be on August 3rd. It's a scramble at Westfield Country Club. So I'll pass around the sign-up
Oh, all the way to
sheet for that.
Westfield,
I'm
huh?
looking forward to
Wow.
playing some golf on Friday. I think, Evan, you won the golf with Tom Randall, right? So we'll be playing with Evan and Tom Randall as well on Friday.
Thanks, Dexter. Dan, are you ready to talk to us?
Sorry, I had long pants on today.
Thank gosh.
You'll remember a few weeks ago we had our scholarship winners here. I received a thank you letter from one of them. I thought I'd share it with you people. Thank you so much for choosing me to receive your scholarship in 2015. I also would like to thank you for letting me ride in a Memorial Day parade. It was a surreal experience. I hope to make the Rotary Club proud as I move on to the next chapter of my life at Ohio State University. Thanks, Brendan Burdett. I thought
All
it was
right,
very
Brendan.
nice. Thank you.
Doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
Gail,
Yes.
your turn.
Thank you.
Hey, Ronnie.
Good morning, Rotarians.
Morning, Gail.
I did pass around a flyer. Everyone should have one about our annual dinner, which is coming up in 2 weeks, and it will be again at Lake Forest Country Club. The cost is $40 per person. There is a sign-up sheet. Where is it right now?
Right here.
It's back there. Okay, sorry, I don't have a clipboard, so it's a little flimsy, but it is making the rounds. So be sure you sign up. Be sure you can email me or call me as well to get your reservations in, and it should be a lovely evening. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Gail. Joe, would you like to talk to us about the cluster meeting or anything with the update? No?
Thank you anyway.
Thank you anyhow, they're very polite.
Thank you very much. No.
Then we're going to move on to something that I had planned. A couple months ago, I had done some spring into spring thank you gifts, so I wanted to finish the rest of them before my term ends in 2 weeks. So first of all, to our Sergeant of Arms, Ron Strobel. Ron, thank you for maintaining peace and controlling disagreements at our board meetings. But what do you get a Sergeant of Arms who has everything? He has 2 badges and an armband. His own police car. Thank you, Ron.
Great. Super.
Craig Tallman, a big thank you for his great job as president of the Hudson Rotary Foundation. Without our foundation, the Rotary Club would not be able to offer tax deductions for all of our donations and gifts. The foundation prudently invests and manages our money, and it investigates and gives us recommendations for all grant requests. So for you, Craig, he's got the Disney time and money card so he can manage his time as president of the railroad as well as another term as president of the foundation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then we had Craig also marching in the Memorial Parade, thank you, along with Catherine Sines and Evan McCauley. So Evan and Catherine, I have for you.
Watch out, Evan. Yeah.
Puppets. I don't know if you know what puppets are. You throw them on the ground. Yes, Evan knows, of course. You can use it for next year's parade to make
Oh, is that a
noise.
slam? Of course he knows.
Brad Nelson, thank you for your willingness and cheerfulness in helping to film when James Field could not be present. I just wanted to come on out.
That's why you wore the tie.
I've always wanted to say to someone, go fly a kite. Go fly a kite.
Oh.
Ed Sogan, great fine
Coach.
day. I watched it on HCTV.
Yeah.
John Forrest, yes. Thank you also for providing mussels for the Heroes Day Mulching Project and cleaning up Camp Manitowoc Boy Scout swimming pool. Super Ball. Careful when you bounce that. Is Bob Cramp here?
No.
No.
No, so wait till next week. Liz Ramsey. Thank you, Liz, for your sheer determination and pure grit in founding the first ever Hudson Ladies Royal Tea. Not only was it a truly classy social affair, but Liz was able to get great publicity in the hub. So for Liz, a light up butterfly for this social butterfly.
Ooh.
Thanks, Liz. Next, a thank you to Gail Royster. When Gail is in charge, we have no worries and know that everything will be done right, from planning the annual dinner to Jimmy Sutphen's roast to the website, speakers, you name it. So for your gift, Gail, I have an always in control decal and a multicolored pen to keep track of all your projects. Thank you. John Hairston. John is one of our newest Rotarians who spearheaded the Heroes Day Mulch and Weeding Project in conjunction with the Rotary clubs in our cluster. John? This is Noy's putty, but I figured you need putty for all your projects. Thanks, John.
Good, John.
Donna Kastner. Love you, Donna. Do great jobs. The video, if any of you ever watched our program on HCTV and you see that video,
Yep.
Donna did it. Crazy Eights card game, that describes Donna's life with working, right? You always say, my crazy life. Thank you, Donna.
Here you go, Donna.
And last but not least, Andy Morris. He's here. Andy is our liaison with the Boy Scout troop. For him, a flashing helicopter so he can earn his flying badge.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
You, Andy.
thank you all for all of your help. We so appreciate it. So now we're going to move on to our speakers. And yeah, I'm looking for you up here, Catherine, and you're in the back. You fooled me.
She's drinking, yeah.
No, she's drinking. Just water.
It's for my guest.
So Catherine's going to introduce our speakers. Should be very interesting.
There you go, Tommy.
Yeah.
Now, do they have... Oh.
The clicker didn't seem to work.
Good morning, Rotarians.
Oh.
I think she's gonna
This
come
morning,
back.
it's a treat to have the speakers that we have today. Well, I don't know, I've talked to you a few times about the state budget and how we were in trouble of losing over $3 million, and that we were working very hard to try to campaign both with the House of Representatives and the Senate to work on our behalf so that Hudson wouldn't lose our money that we needed. So in that endeavor, we had a group of concerned citizens who have worked on our behalf towards that. And this morning I asked two of the whole group to come. They're going to speak to you. But before this happened, most kids only knew about what happens with a bill from Schoolhouse Rock. And here I'm going to bring you back a little memory.
That one first?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Let's see. And I believe this.
And then other
A lot of steps to get to this
other
Capitol building
point.
here in Washington. Well, I wonder who that sad little scrap of paper is.
I'm just a bill, yes, I'm only a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Well, it's a long, long journey to the capital city. It's a long, long wait while I'm sitting in committee, but I know I'll be a law someday. At least I hope and pray that I will, but today I am still just a bill.
Gee, Bill, you certainly have a lot of patience and courage.
Well, I got this far. When I started, I wasn't even a bill. I was just an idea. Some folks back home decided they wanted a law passed, so they called their local congressman, and he said, "You're right, there ought to be a law." And he sat down and rolled me out and introduced me to Congress, and I became a bill. And I'll remain a bill until they decide to make me a law. I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I got as far as Capitol Hill.
What happened?
It's thinking.
Well, even if that's where it stops, that's fine.
Okay.
Can you go back to the PowerPoint?
That was an answer.
Congressmen discuss and debate whether they should let me be a law. I hope and pray that they will, but today I'm still just a bill.
Listen to those congressmen arguing. Is all that discussion and debate about you?
Yeah, I'm one of the lucky ones. Most bills never even get this far. I hope they decide to report on me favorably, otherwise I may die.
Die?
Yeah, die in committee. Oh, but it looks like I'm going to live. Now I go to the House of Representatives and they vote on me.
If they vote yes, what happens?
Then I go to the Senate and the whole thing starts all over again.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And if they vote for me on Capitol Hill, well, then I'm off to the White House where I'll wait in a line with a lot of other bills for the president to sign.
NRA.
And if he signs me, then I'll be a law. I hope and pray that he will. But today I am still just a bill.
You mean even if the whole Congress says you should be a law, the president can still say no?
Yes, that's called a veto. If the president vetoes me, I have to go back to Congress and they vote on me again, and by that time you're so
By that time, it's very unlikely that you become a law. It's not easy to become a law, is it?
No, but how I hope and pray that I will. But today I am still just a bill. He signed your bill, now you're a law. Oh, yes!
All right.
Thank you.
The group that I want to introduce to you this morning, that is going to talk about what they did, learned it a better way than that. They had hands-on. Looking at that, they've got to be able to think of what they went through. They went to the House of Representatives, met them, went to the Senate. Okay. So I'd like to introduce to you this morning Laura Jones, and Sydney Jones, Angela Rosenberg, and Caitlin Rosenberg, and Patty Enkelman. These are the 5, I call them my fabulous 5, who have been representing us at the state.
What was that noise? All right, we'll turn it off.
We have Kathleen here to be able to feel it.
Thank you so much for having us here this morning. We really appreciate it. It is my honor to introduce the most important people who came with us. They were the ones that everybody wanted to hear. In fact, the 5 of us went to the Senate twice. We went to the House of Representatives and to the Senate twice. Laura Jones actually testified earlier in March to a subcommittee for the House. And generally the order that we spoke was Angela was first. Her daughter Caitlin was second, Laura Jones was third, Sydney was fourth, and I was fifth. So during that time frame, when the girls spoke, first of all, each of them got an applause, which is unheard of. So each time the girls were applauded. They were also a number of folks in the Senate subcommittee wanted them to date their grandsons, and Chairman Height, who was the chairman for the subcommittee on education in the Senate, he also talked to Caitlin and Sydney about playing a musical performance for the Senate, the full Senate. It was supposed to be today, but they canceled the meeting, so they're going to have to reschedule. So when the last time we were testifying, Angela went first, Caitlin went second, Laura went third. Laura said, "Do you have any questions for me?" And they said, "No, we want to get to the kids." So without further ado, here are the kids. Caitlin Rosenberg, she's going to go first.
Okay. Good morning. Hi, my name is Caitlin Rosenberg, and I am a 6th grader, well now going into 7th grade, at Hudson Middle School. I am here today to ask you not to decrease my school district's funding. First, school means a lot to me. It's nice knowing that I get up in the morning and know that I have a great education waiting for me. I always look forward to grasping the friendly environment of the teachers. The teachers at my school give me the best learning opportunity and always want to make the learning experience fun. School for me is the best way to learn from my mistakes and to achieve those dreams that you've been having since you were little. Next, if you decrease the state's funding, we could lose all of the other after-school activities and programs that my school district offers, which includes music, art, sports, and many other activities. If you cut the music program, no student would ever learn the true meaning of music or how to appreciate art. For example, this year I had never in my entire life known about the Baroque or Renaissance period until our general music teacher, Ms. Huntley, taught us how music came to be over time in history. Music is a part of everyone's life, and if we were to say, cut seeing Ms. Huntley to 2 days a week instead of 4, that would make me feel very devastated because music is part of my life. I play the violin. If all the music programs were cut, such as orchestra, band, choir, and general music, students wouldn't be able to express their individuality. It wouldn't let express me who I really am. Finally, our district has already made several cutbacks and reductions in the past several years to accommodate financial responsibilities. First, my parents and all the other residents of Hudson passed a levy that increased their taxes to support my school district. Also, my teachers took a pay freeze to help offset the money we needed to keep the school running in a way that was best for their students. Then there was a reduction of teachers that increased our class sizes and the amount of time we got to spend with our teachers. The feeling of having the class sizes increase is overwhelming for me and can be overwhelming for other students too. Next, I find it totally unfair that our parents' taxes are increasing because they are cutting the state fund. In conclusion, if we cut our state fund, I will be really sad because we might not have the same privileges as we do now, such as art, music, sports, and other activities that we are seeing 4 times a week. I ask you not to cut state funding because it could cause the amount of time we have with our teachers to decrease, increase the group sizes in our classrooms, and the shorten amount of time we see our teachers each week. Thank you.
Good morning. Hello, my name is Sydney Jones. I am a 6th grader now going into 7th grade at Hudson Middle School, also known as HMS. I am here today because I would like to talk you into keeping the state funding for my beloved school district. My school means a lot to me for many reasons. First, I like my school because it has great teachers that support me. Second, HMS has many clubs, sports, and other after-school activities for me to participate in. Last, every day I know that I can come home with something interesting to tell my family. In past years, there has been more funding cuts from the state that the district has worked around. Anything more, though, will really disrupt our school system. A few of our school's district's past sacrifices include raise taxes for community members, pay freeze experiences for teachers, which has certainly not from for them, and the reduction of teachers. With the reduction of some of the Hudson's finest teachers over the past years, class sizes have gotten bigger. For example, when I was in kindergarten, there were 17 kids in my class. Now, in each kindergarten class, there is around 25 kids. This can be overwhelming for some students as well as crazy for teachers. So you can see that losing teachers can be troublesome for many. Cutting the district's funding not only will harm the students, but it will harm the teachers, their families, and every other family in the community. First, teachers could have yet another pay freeze. I know that many of my teachers have kids around my age, and their kids need the money coming into their parents to grow up and be successful. Second, families' taxes will be raised around the community, and for many families, this will mean that they will have to end family vacations and other family fun for a while. Finally, classes such as music and art may be cut down to just a few days a week or not at all. For many students, this is the highlight of their day, and they look forward to it at the beginning of each day. Many students, including me, participate in school-funded programs, sports, music, art, and other activities. Earlier this year, I participated in the school drama club, which is threatened by the state fund cuts. I also participate in a program called For Kids, which is a leadership program that may be cut if the state takes away the district's money. Next year, I'm hoping to make it onto the Hudson cross country team and the Hudson lacrosse team. I love sports and wouldn't want them to be the option that has to be cut because the state cut our funding. As you can see, state budget cuts to Hudson will affect many people, old and young, in the community and outside of the community. Already, many kids around the world don't get the opportunity to go to school, so please don't cut the state funding and hurt kids that get the opportunity to go to school. The community and others are counting on you because no student deserves to have what they look forward to every day taken away from them.
I know that I'm at this end, but one of the things that I just thought about that might be good for Laura, if you would can you summarize what you said to them? The part about the, what you do for the school?
Sure. So a lot of my speech is what you've been reading in the paper about the TPP and all of that, but I talked about, and what I've said to my friends, the reason I'm going, I spend hours cutting out box tops, and if you don't say box tops, we would love them, but they're little 10-cent things on the top of cereal boxes. So I'm the one that collects them for Eastwood School, and we raised $4,000 at 10 cents at a time this year, and the principal wanted that $4,000 so bad he was duct taped to the wall, he dyed his hair green last year, he did all these crazy things for $4,000, and then I also was one of the co-chairs of the Pancake Breakfast, which you guys probably all are familiar with, and I said, you know, I'm spending months getting ready to flip pancakes to we raised about $20,000 for that. Here we're getting cut $3 million. So I'm going to spend my time on that now, because it was such a significant amount of money.
Laura even took one of the little box tops and held it up to show them what it was that she cut out and showed. And she said, if you don't think $3 million is important to me, I cut out these for 10 cents. So it was dramatic.
Thank you.
I wanted the girls to, do you guys remember what you told me you learned? You can read it. I wrote it. I typed it for you.
So you got to go up to the mic.
You got to go up to the mic.
We learned that representatives and senators like to hear what kids have to say instead of adults when it's kids that are being affected.
Next, the State House is really big, like a museum.
They have good food and a gift shop at the State House.
And There were many students visiting the state capitol in order to learn about how our state legislature works, but we weren't visitors. Instead, we were actual participants in helping to create a bill that would one day become a law. We think that that was the coolest thing ever.
I think it would be important to talk with Angela Rosenberg, who also testified, and she's going to explain how the girls ended up coming with us, and also a little bit about her testimony too.
Good morning. One of the things that Laura had learned from her first subcommittee experience was that the legislators were very attentive when the kids had stood up to speak to them. And so we started talking about it and talked to our daughters and said, would you guys be interested in coming down and testifying as well? And the question that we posed to them, and this is how we did it, we said, here's what the state wants to do. Here's what it means. Here's what, as adults, what it means to us, what we're going to have to do in order to make this all work. You tell us how that would make you feel. How will that affect you? And we handed them paper and a pen, and they just took off with their ideas, as you guys all heard this morning. They came up with it all on their own, and we're very proud of them for that.
Should be.
Very proud of them.
One of the senators even asked them, I remember asked them who wrote their speech,
Yeah.
and they defended it. They told them they did. That was theirs.
The only thing was their language arts teacher helped them with their grammar and made sure their sentence structure was flowed properly.
And they did tell them that. They did tell that so that it was also a learning experience that way too.
And they spent their lunches figuring out if they were saying it right, kind of critiquing it. They spent a few of those lunches doing that, and then they spent a few of their lunches practicing the Crowley piece that they were supposed to play today at the Senate. But because they were supposed to do it in front of the full Senate, and they had to cancel that session because the Finance Committee needs to stay in session in order to work through the bill, the finance bill, or the budget bill. So they had to cancel full session today. So we'll be working with Senator Height's office in order to see if we can come down later on, maybe at the end of the summer or beginning of the fall. As for me, the reason why I got involved was Laura and I got involved 4 years ago when the state had taken away $5 million from our school district. And we worked on a campaign for the levy, and we saw basically what it did to the community. And for me, when I heard they were going to take more money away from us, I did not want to see that happen again. And if I could somehow make my voice heard for everybody here in Hudson, that was pretty much my goal. That's the reason why I went down. And so far, they are listening to us. I think that they are being very reasonable. I think they realize that there's a flaw in the school funding formula. And I think that the men and women who we have elected are willing to work on making it, at least trying to make it right for all the districts in the state of Ohio, including ours. So thank you very much for your support in having us here today.
Thank you.
You know, one thing that Catherine had said, and also I believe very strongly, that these two young ladies and two very, very involved volunteers in the school district, they made an incredible difference while we were down talking to the House and to the Senate. I really believe that some of the, all that has been happening in the House and the Senate really is credited to Sydney and Caitlin. So I really think it was hearing our voices, their voices, was incredibly, incredibly important. And my testimony, of course, would have been from a Board of Education perspective. I talked a lot about how 70% of our school funding already comes from our community, and regardless of any state income tax cuts and whatnot, it's going to be very difficult for our community to make up any difference that there would be if there was funding taken away. I talked a lot about all the different things we've been doing over the years to reduce expenses, reducing the workforce, increasing class sizes, renegotiating every contract, you know, those types of things. But theirs were much better than my speech. One thing I would like to point out to you, there is a piece of paper on your tables. We still need your help right now. Excuse me, on June 8th, we did receive really good news. We're keeping our fingers crossed that the Senate agreed with the House and is holding us harmless over the biennial budget period 2016 to 2017. Supposedly, we're going to keep our funding level at the 2015 level, which is great news. We are taking that, we're being very cautious, however, because it still has a long way to go. And in addition, we got the top level information on Monday. Now we're kind of going through the weeds and the details to make sure that we really are going to be held harmless and not lose our $2.98 million. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. It does have a long way to go. The Senate Finance Committee needs to approve it. The full Senate needs to approve it. The House will probably come back and not approve the entire Senate's changes. So a conference committee will need to go through and hash out things and come up with a bill that's going to end up on Governor Kasich's desk. He still will have veto power, but we're keeping our fingers crossed that we won't lose our funding along with half of the schools in Ohio. But we need your help to do that. Voices make a difference. We would really appreciate if there's any way you would contact your representatives, calls, emails, letters, anything. It really is our voices that make a difference. So thank you so much, and I'm sure you have some questions for all of us. We all will take questions, but the girls will too. So I'll bring everyone up. Does anyone have any questions?
Here. This question's for Caitlin and Sydney. Have you guys had any experience with public speaking, and were you nervous at all when you were going up there?
Before I went down, I spoke at a board meeting, but that's not. Yeah, I do acting also.
Before this, I didn't do any public speaking, and I was very nervous.
Honestly, it did not come across. They were as professional as could be.
You gotta get behind the microphone. They also practiced all the way down to Columbus.
You were both so impressive. I'm curious, do you know what you want to be when you grow up? Is this kind of starting some thoughts? City kids.
So, you'd seen this cartoon about It's Just a Bill, I'm Just a Bill before. I mean, you've probably seen it many times, right, over the years. And I think it was, I mean, I remember it from when I was a kid. And it really is a great piece. But, I mean, how cool is it? How cool is it that you guys have, like, participated in the process? Isn't it? I mean, this isn't just theory. This is, you guys are actually participating in the process. Thank you.
Could you tell us how you got to be invited to go there and play the violin? Can you tell us how did you do that?
He just mentioned that he played the cello and invited us to play a quartet with him.
I remember it well, because we were,
Yeah.
I remember it well. He asked her, he said, in your speech, you said you did orchestra, what do you play? And she said the violin. And he said, do you play it very well? And she put her hand on her hip and had her hand like this, with her finger to her mouth, and she looked at him and said, yes, I do. So that started the conversation that he played, and then he asked them if the two girls would come back and play in a quartet.
And the he was Chairman Height, who was the chairman of the Finance Subcommittee on Education.
Cool.
Any other questions? Thank you, girls. One more thing.
I just wanted to add that both Sydney and Caitlin last year had Mr. Vandersky for 5th grade, and the gentleman constantly had these girls, the whole entire class, both classes, up in front of a group of people. They were either doing presentations solo, or they were doing presentations in a group setting. And at the end, they had to participate in Lemonade Day, so they had to go in front of a mock bank board in order to get a business loan. And then they had to create their plan, and then they had to go talk with, Caitlin was in front of Ace Hardware, so they had to talk to the manager there, and have the whole plan out. So this kind of all built for them in order to be able to kind of stand up in front of other adults. They had the experience last year, and like I said, I think that they did an amazing job. So they're very well schooled.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I think our future is in good hands. So we're at the end of our meeting. Anybody else have any other news or announcements? If not, thank you to our AV team as ever. Tom, great job on the camera. And to our greeters. And now get out your tickets. Four, two, 7, 2. Oh, Ron.
Sure, take vacation and come back and win money.
Come on, Ron.
Good luck, Ron.
Oh, darn.
Oh.
Better luck next week. Have a great week, everybody.
What a shame.
Yeah.
Everything they got.